Welcome back, everybody. All right, in this tutorial, we're going to make a Roman sword. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to push X and delete this here. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be making a cylinder, and we're starting off with this primitive here. Now, make sure you don't move it around. One thing about cylinders is you do have a level of detail, and in this level of detail is going to be 32 vertices. If you see that you added something like 200, you can see it gets a lot more smooth. However, that's way too many vertices for a sword, unless you're doing this just for a render here. So 32 should be fine, especially if you want to use this in kind of in game or stuff like that. I'm going to scale that down, something more like this here. We can scale down the sword at the end here. So this is going to be huge, but at the end we're going to make it we can scale down the whole thing. Let's tab into edit mode and we'll go into the face select here. I'm just going to push E to extrude. I'm going to scale that out just a bit, just like that. E to extrude, scale that out. E extrude, E extrude again, scale that in. E to extrude, scale that in. E extrude and scale that in again. And yeah, so this is going to be the bottom of the sword. So as you can see, I'm just going to model it fairly large first of all, and then I'm going to move it in later. So here we go. We have you can see here that we have the handle of the sword, and I'm going to go E to extrude, just like that. E to extrude again. I'm going to scale it out. E to extrude, scale it out. E to extrude, scale it out. E to extrude, E to extrude, scale it out maybe a little bit more. E to extrude, scale that out even a bit more, and just a little bit more here. So there we go. We got this cool little thing going on there. All right, now we need to kind of move this in towards the center and to make a blade. So I'm going to push E to extrude and right click right away, and I'm going to move this in just like that here. Now, making a blade can be a little bit more tricky than you thought, right? So in theory we could extrude this here. But what we're going to do, and this for some reason looks like it's off, but it doesn't. It's definitely not. It's just kind of this weird angle here. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to scale this along let's actually scale this to about there. Okay, and then I'm going to scale this along the y-axis, and I'm going to scale it along the y-axis again. And here is going to be our sword. So just make sure this is right in the center, and it is. Then I'm going to push E to extrude, and now you can see that we have indeed this, we definitely have this in here. Of course, this technically doesn't have to be sharp when you think about it, and the reason for that is, and the one reason for that is this is supposed to be in a game here, and it doesn't necessarily have to be sharp. In fact, a lot of times you'll see blades and they look more dull than you think they are. So we're going to move this out here. I'm going to push E to extrude. I'm going to scale that in, and I'm actually going to move this up quite a bit, and I'm going to scale that right up to the top right there. And so there we go. We got this nice little tip in there here. Okay, so there we go. We have a nice vertex here. Now we have a nice sword here. Again, if you're going for detail in a game, this is more than enough. In fact, it's almost too much. There is quite a bit of vertices in here. However, a lot of them this is, if you're going for a mobile game, this is way too many vertices. If you're going for a AAA game on a console, this will definitely work because you can go ahead and do that here. Now, the question is do you want the curves? And if the answer is yes, then you can leave it like this. If not, you can in theory go delete these faces, and like each one of these faces here, and then connect them. But I think that's too much work personally. One last thing is, let's say you make a mistake up at the top here and you want to move this here. If you go to edge select and push Alt right mouse button, right, like this, you can move this up or down as much as you want. So, but I like it the way this is. I'll see you guys in the next tutorial.